Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the XboxEra podcast. I am Sikamikanico and I'm joined by Special Ed and Kaironaut. What's up, guys?
G'day,
everybody.
I always hate using the phrase "what's up" because I feel like it's just Bugs Bunny's words and not my own.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. Yep.
What's up, Doc?
Or as I heard it referred to today, Warner Bros.
Warner Bros.
Warner Bros.
Your bros.
Apparently there are some people out there who, when they see BROS dot
Bros.
period full stop, they say bros or bros. It's like, no, it's brothers.
Yeah.
That is brothers.
Brez.
It's the Mario Brothers. It's not Mario Bros.
Were they
It's
just
Mario Brez.
Were they just
BREA.
riffing off of the Batman Lego movie? Because you know when the intro logos come out, you got Will Arnett going, Warner Bros. Why not brothers? maybe that's why. I don't know. But hey, look, it's good to be back, and it's been a crazy couple of weeks for really good news. Next week's going to be even better.
Yeah, really big.
We've had Gears Tactics, which has done rather well. We've had
most of the reviews are really good for it.
Most of the reviews are really good for it. Some people have different opinions, and that's fine. I personally am quite enjoying it, but I've never played a tactical-y type genre.
Yeah,
type game
I think
before.
Gears Tactics has currently a
80-something.
81 on Metacritic.
Good for them.
Not bad. 7.9 user score too, so that's very in line.
And
it's not bad.
It's a really solid PC game.
You don't really see a user score. This is like an off the
cuff.
topic, but you don't really ever see a user score being so close to the critic score.
No, that's
which
true.
It's amazing.
I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, just grab it on your PC, bro.
Nope. I will wait for the Xbox version.
Now enters the Mac versus PC part of the podcast. A new segment. No, I'm kidding. But there's not only have we had Gears Tactics, there's been some other game which I think you've been waiting a long time for, right?
Streets of Rage.
26
years. I've been waiting longer than Cairo's been alive.
That's kind of insane. That makes it sound longer.
By 2 years. I'm only 24.
To be so young.
And really, you could argue longer because Streets of Rage 3, like when most people talk Streets of Rage, they think Streets of Rage 2. They don't. A lot of people don't even acknowledge that 3 exists. So you could argue it's been longer.
Yeah.
But man, it's so good.
No, it's and you wrote the review for that one as well, which was very positive.
That was, man. I booked a day off Friday. To give myself time to play it and do the review and all that. I don't know, man. Got it all done Thursday, like real fast. Game didn't go live till 10 a.m. Thursday morning. I had it beaten, reviewed, voice-overed, all by like 10 o'clock that night.
Wow.
It was just bang, bang, bang.
That
smashed
is
it all
fervent Streets of Rage
man.
I think that's the thing when you've been looking forward to it, like when you've been looking forward to a particular game or series for so long, and then it comes out and you're just like, and it's over in seconds, and you're like,
I'm still playing it. Going for the achievements.
Yeah, I need to dip into it. It's not been something I've booted up yet. I've been playing a bit of Gears Tactics, a lot of Sea of Thieves, and my little boy's birthday, I bought him Spyro, the Reignited trilogy.
On Xbox or Switch?
On
Xbox or Switch?
On Xbox. Okay. We're not allowed near the Switch now. Animal Crossing has taken over fully. My wife.
Your wife was just.
I don't think she slept last night. She's just a zombie in front of the Switch screen. She's not even plugged her phone into charge. It's taken the USB-C charger for the phone, and she just sits there now. Yeah, no,
that's
it's
unfortunate.
Hey, it's got her into gaming. That's.
I was about to say maybe that's what I need to get Animal Crossing to see if that'll get my wife into gaming.
Yeah. There's
not much else that's worked.
Yeah, well, I was surprised it worked, but it worked. So Nintendo are clearly doing something right for that demographic, maybe. But no, my little boy has slowly become more and more acclimated to using the separate thumbsticks and understanding that this one moves the camera and this one moves it. So we were I was looking through for his birthday, like what kind of games that I don't have that he could kind of delve into. And Spyro looked cool. I think it was on sale, so I picked it up for like 20 quid or something. And he is really, really enjoying it. And I'm very pleased to see that he is really getting those skills down, those fine motor skills. And understanding that you need to do this to get this. And, you know, and it's cool because he's reading now as well. He's reading level since obviously the COVID-19 thing. Everyone's kind of doing a lot of homeschooling, so we've really concentrated on his reading and writing as a particular skill. And his reading is just, I'm so proud of him. Like, stuff will appear up on the screen. It doesn't matter what font it's in. He's just like...
How old is he?
He's just hit 6. And like, he's been able to read, but I mean, like without any assistance now, he can figure out most, even if it's a complicated word. And this is just awesome. So very, very pleased with him. And I've kind of had a bit of fun playing Spyro as well. So, yeah,
that's real good
stuff. It's good stuff. What about you, Cairo? You've been playing anything new?
Not necessarily new. Same old. But I recently got back into playing my VR headset more often. And the one game that I've been obsessed with over the last few days, and it's one that I kept pinging you, John, in Discord.
I saw the ping.
Hyper Dash, which is only available on the Oculus Quest and only through side quests. It's available right now in a free alpha for the game. It is a 5v5 arena shooter where you can move around with the analog stick, you can move around with teleports, you can move around with rails that are around the map. It is by far the most phenomenal multiplayer VR game I've ever played. It is insanely fast.
Damn.
Not uncomfortably fast, where you're gonna get sick after a while. But oh my god.
Big fan.
I don't play it standing up. I play it sitting on my chair. They have a sitting mode for it, which is nice. But I just put my chair in the middle of my room so I can spin around freely. And I suck at the game because there's aim assist, but it's not noticeable aim assist, I guess. And I still can't shoot a gun apparently. So, but it is exciting. All the lobbies are full right now. Ever since it got the side quest released, people have been loading onto their quest.
Nifty little.
And for those that don't know, side quest is essentially an app for Mac or Windows that allows you to load APKs, third-party APKs from outside the Oculus store onto your Oculus Quest, so you can play games that aren't available on the system itself. Now, I haven't heard of anything about Hyper Dash
as an official release.
As an official release yet. It's still in very much an alpha. It's missing a lot. It's very polished for an alpha. I will tell you that right now. There is not a lot wrong with the game.
Can we?
But it doesn't have a lot of.
Can we just take note here of Nick's indifference to the VR conversation? He's pulled back from the camera. He's got a look of permanent disgust on his face.
And he's wearing an Overwatch shirt. And
he doesn't care. He's even crossing his arms like this, goddamn kids with their VR headsets and their fun spits,
Yeah. It's, no, but there's no world map textures yet. It's all very pre-alpha, just the squares signifying a meter, those kind of things, the alpha textures. I don't like, the one criticism I have of the game right now is that I don't like that it's using that stupid VR convention of putting all the UI elements you would normally see in front of you on your wrist.
Oh, God, so
I don't want to look down at my wrist to see my health, my stamina, the game stats, anything like that.
So raise your arm in front of your eyes then.
Yeah, exactly.
Or look down in your.
Or look down, yeah. And I would rather that be more like a 3D HUD, as if I were wearing a helmet, which I would be since I'm in VR. But
I like that kind of stuff.
It's insane how cool that game is.
I should check it out.
It is phenomenal.
So I assume you weren't playing that. I assume you were playing that on Oculus and not Steam VR.
Yeah.
Queued up nicely.
So it's only available on Oculus right now. I don't know anything about a Steam or PC VR release. But speaking of Steam VR, I'm pissed off that Valve actually pulled Steam VR support from macOS a couple days ago. If you go to the Steam store page for Steam VR, it no longer lists Mac as a supported platform. It doesn't even say it supports Linux, really. It says Windows. But
it's good to see.
I get it. I get it in the sense of like, I mean, what VR titles really came out on Mac? Yeah. But it's still kind of disappointing that the possibility is no longer there. But I think you, Nick, were gonna touch on.
I was going to say it's good to see Apple knows how Microsoft feels with Windows Phone now.
Yeah, being a really good platform, but no support whatsoever. Yep. I've been seeing a lot of people comment on like how, this is because Apple doesn't support Vulkan on macOS, so they don't support open third-party APIs. For those who don't know, Vulkan is it's what DirectX 12 is, but basically open source. Anyone can use it on any platform. Android has it, Linux has it, Windows has it. The only platform that doesn't have Vulkan is macOS. And that's because Metal, which is Apple's DirectX 12, existed 2 years before Vulkan ever came out, and Apple just said, we're just going to stick with what we have.
Sounds like Apple.
Which is a very Apple way of doing things, isn't it?
It's a very Apple way of doing things.
I keep seeing the same complaints about Apple being levied at Microsoft with regards to xCloud. Like, they announced earlier this week that it's coming out across a bunch of countries in the EU. And people are like, well, where's my Apple version? And they don't seem to understand that Apple are limiting it. So even if it is out on Apple, which it is in limited quantities, it's one game, which is just Halo the Master Chief Collection, and that's it. So presumably the Microsoft business folk are still like hammering out some form of agreement with Apple, because Apple refused to allow stores or other things to exist within an app, I think is the general gist. I don't know the details.
Basically, you can't purchase, like, they make exceptions. Like Netflix is an exception, Hulu is an exception, but only because they're large enough. And if you didn't have Netflix or Hulu, then people will go somewhere else.
Prime is on iOS as well.
Prime,
so is the Australian equivalent Stan.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Apple seems weird about what they allow and what they don't.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
very arbitrary.
It's very hypocritical because Apple Arcade exists, right?
Yeah.
But because Apple Arcade is owned by Apple, obviously, they don't want competition to Apple Arcade on iOS, and xCloud and Stadia would be direct competition. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I remember reading Spotify did this big thing where they publicly said this is nonsense, because they upped their prices by 30% in the Apple Store if you made that purchase in order to make their actual normal fee, but advertised in the store like, hey, don't buy it this way, come out of Apple, come with us directly, and then just log in and you can pay only this much, because they didn't want to give Apple this massive cut on their user base. And it's but at the end of the day, these platform holders and the gatekeepers are going to gatekeep content.
To be fair to Apple, at least in that case, Google also charges 30% on in-app purchases.
Yeah.
So they would have had to do that on Android regardless. Someone can correct me on that. I'm pretty sure I'm right though. So it wasn't like Apple was doing anything extraordinary by demanding such a fee.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, stuff like xCloud and Stadia exists on Android, but don't in any capacity, in any good capacity at least, on iOS.
I mean, Stadia barely exists anywhere.
Did anyone watch the Stadia Direct?
Oh no, I didn't care.
No.
All they did was announce games that we already had for like months are coming to Stadia, and I don't care.
Oh.
So
there was that one. Didn't they do a deal with Splash Damage though?
Yeah, they're doing a deal with Splash Damage, but did they even show it off?
No.
Not sure.
No. Until
just
there's until there's an exclusive game to show, I don't really give a shit about Stadia. And I don't think anyone gives a shit.
Yeah.
Splash Damage had been spoken about as a studio that maybe Microsoft would look at purchasing. They made Gears Tactics. It's just looks like who? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Which is just okay. I mean, it's fine that they don't get like purchased by Google. I mean, if you get purchased by Google as a gaming company, I just assume you're going to be dead within 2 years. So
Yeah, so you won't be around.
So
what did happen to Double Helix?
They dissolved and became the rest of Amazon Game Studios. And Amazon Game Studios is doing some MMO thing that I think had an alpha that I don't think anyone gave a shit about.
That is a studio that Microsoft should have bought. Their own KI.
But it was during a time when Terry Myerson was the head of Xbox technically. So we all know how that went. But yeah, it's but another thing, going back to things I've been playing outside of VR, I started reopening Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind on the original Xbox, emulated obviously back compat on my One X, and playing that game again reminds me so much of a time when I couldn't do anything but like get into worlds like that, just like cohesively like built worlds where everything fit, you know. Morrowind was just the game. I never had an Xbox, like an original Xbox growing up. I didn't have an Xbox to the 360. We bought the arcade in this house, and that was only because we couldn't wait a couple more weeks to pick up the one with the 60 gig hard drive.
20 gig.
The 20. No, it was later on in the life cycle when they announced when they started putting the 60 gig in it. We couldn't wait like 2 more weeks for our parents to like help us out. So we bought the arcade with our own money. But when I got into Xbox, I started going back into all those old OG Xbox games that I missed.
Yeah.
And one of them was Morrowind. And Morrowind is literally the best RPG Bethesda has ever made. Bar none. You can put that on the record as me saying that. And the reason why I mention it is because a couple days ago, it was Morrowind's 18th birthday. And
not as old as Streets of Rage.
My mind.
Nope.
Not as old as Streets of Rage, but 18 years.
It's kind of nuts,
the launch
right?
of that game. It's just strange to think about. That I was like, it came out in 2004. I was around 9 at the time it came out. 2002 actually, wasn't it? Yeah, 2002. I'm sorry. So I was 7 at the time. And
I'm coming to the slow realization I'm 12 years older than you.
Yeah.
Lost all my hair. Jesus.
I'm like 15, 16 years older than him.
I'm starting a little bit to lose mine, but I'm hanging in there.
Some luscious locks.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just good because my grandfather had like a receding hairline, but it never went past the widow's peak.
Yeah.
So he just kind of had a really prominent widow's peak like throughout his life, like up until he died. So I'm pretty sure that's where it's probably going to end for me. You know.
So, you know, as we said, it's been a good couple of weeks. There's been lots of games to play. We've seen, Xbox team making a lot of noise. Phil's been out there talking about the impact it's had on the gaming industry, all of those fun things. And now we've got a date. We finally know when we're breaking ground. So earlier this week we had Ubisoft or Ubisoft, depending on how you pronounce it, break cover, and they did a live stream of one of their artists doing effectively some banner or cover art for the new Assassin's Creed, which is Valhalla, set in a Viking
That went
period.
for a long time,
9
too,
hours.
Like hours.
Yeah, 9 hours.
Far out.
Which
That's
is cool.
full on.
And then the next day, we actually got the CG trailer. I'm not sure if you guys have watched it. I presume you have.
Yeah, I have.
Now, I refuse. I refuse right now to get hype, all right? Because every time I see one of these cool trailers, I'm like, oh, yeah, I love the setting. And then it's just another Assassin's Creed game. Prime example, Black Flag. Loved everything piratey, obviously. I'm on land and I'm doing a boring assassin-y bit. Snooze my way through this as quickly as possible and then back on the seas. So I'm not going to get hype yet, but we now know that on May the 7th, during a new episode of Inside Xbox Remote Edition, we're going to see first gameplay not just from Assassin's Creed, but we're also going to see everything else third party.
Yeah, dedicated third party show, which is cool because it means two things. Number one, it means we should see a fair bit of new stuff next week. If it's third party only.
Yep.
But it also means that for them to have a dedicated third party, they're also going to have a dedicated first party later, which means they've got a crap load of stuff to show at that one.
Yep.
So, and I mean, we said here back in December, there'd be a show in April or May.
Yep.
Where we'd get a third party game shown. Man, now's the time.
Feels good.
We need that game shown.
Feels good. Let's go.
Yeah.
We are now. We've obviously made predictions beforehand about what we think is going to be on the shows and what we think Microsoft and the Xbox team are going to show off. So we actually kind of earlier this week we got a little virtual meeting room together of all of our kind of team that operate the site and this podcast and our YouTube channel, and we kind of hashed out some predictions, right? And they're not just all from one person, they're from across the team in terms of what we think we're going to see. And I think we're pretty bullish on a lot of them, right? Some of them are just not going to come to pass, so don't take that video if you haven't seen it, or the article if you haven't read it, as definite. There's not necessarily rumor mill. Yes, we've heard this, but this is educated guesses. This is what we think we're going to see.
Except Elden Ring, of course. That one was one that we heard.
Yeah, so Elden Ring, we do think is
Elden Ring. We have to stick to our guns on Elden Ring.
You gotta have some
pressure, Nick. Yeah, no pressure for this team.
Well,
because I think that was one of the first rumors that we'd heard. Was that the Microsoft were working with From to actually hold a full gameplay reveal.
With Namco, they made a deal with Namco to withhold the gameplay reveal until. Now remember, this was back in December, so COVID was just a twinkle in SARS eye back then. So we had heard that there was the Series X unveil, which it's now been unveiled, and we obviously, whatever the case may be, we had heard that there was going to be the full Series X unveil in April or May, and that there was a deal done for Elden Ring to be shown there. So now, obviously, the Series X has been unveiled, but, I mean, it can't just be a coincidence that we now have a May game third-party event to show third-party games. So
yeah,
I'd like to believe that that's where we'll see Elden Ring finally.
Yeah, and just in case, just to like a wrap up in terms of what we think we're going to see. So some of the guys think, if you remember earlier this year, Warner Brothers or Bros, Bros, they were going to have for the first time, arguably, their very own E3 kind of showcase. Obviously, COVID then reared its head. Everything's been cancelled out of the wazoo. So they've got a number of projects that they have been working on over the last couple of years. We know from the infamous leak back in 2018 that there's a Harry Potter game, like a big AAA. Looked gorgeous back in 2018.
God, am I excited for that?
Yeah,
God, really?
I'm not even a big Harry Potter nerd, but
I haven't even
watched
a Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, no, the books.
Because the thing is, I think I talked about this before on the podcast, but like the Harry Potter video games were the games of my childhood. I've been wanting a new Harry Potter game for years, and I never got one. And now I just want to get one.
Yeah. So we know we think we might see that. We might, if Warner Brothers now aren't going to do their own remote show, are they going to basically look to the big platform holders like Sony, like Microsoft, and say, yeah, we're not going to go and spend money, or we haven't got the infrastructure to stand up a load of stuff, but we've got all of this content ready. Have you got somewhere to show it? And that might be why we are now seeing this kind of different approach from Microsoft. Instead of here's the console, here's the general thing, here's a couple of showcase pieces, more in June, it's now, here's third party, here's first party. And they've split this up.
It's even more, though, because Jeff Keighley announced his summer games event thing that goes for 4 months.
Yeah.
And I think they already confirmed that. Yeah, I think they already confirmed that Microsoft's going to feature prominently throughout that period. So I'm sure they'll have their 2 big ones, like their May 7 and whatever the official E3 replacement is. But I think they're also going to feature throughout it as well.
Yeah. And you can just think about it like with the multiple events, right? They're not tethered to one specific event to nail down, to like reveal the launch price of the console.
Yeah.
So they could stretch this out as long as they want to.
Yep.
And they're probably gonna just to
why not
pickle Sony a little
bit.
Well,
they will, because if you think about it from Microsoft's perspective, I guess the slight advantage they have is that they've already set the agenda in so much as expectations are that they have the very powerful premium console.
Yeah.
So they're already prepping people for a $499 and above price. The beauty of it is, let's say they were just, because XboxEra tweeted something out in reply to someone. Someone mentioned something about the price.
I remember this.
Of the PS5 versus the Series X, and he said something like, "Lol, one is super important, one is just balancing a spreadsheet," or something like that, indicating
it was like a rounding error for one, a significant problem for another. Yeah.
Which that made me think, God, maybe they're gonna just get really aggressive and be like, "Screw it, $399, bugger it, Series X $399, who cares?"
Imagine that though, and if the Series S proves to be real, which, as far as we're aware, the leaks and the reporters have suggested that it's looking likely to be the case. Just imagine if they drop $399 for the Series X, like
and $199.
and $199 for the Series S, and you're just thinking. And to me, I'm thinking to myself, like, where the hell is like anyone else going to compete with that?
Yeah.
Because now Microsoft has both entryways into next gen. The lower end for everyone, the high end for the enthusiasts. There's only the middle ground to compete on at that point.
Yeah.
Because if PS5 launches at $399, they're fucked.
$499, you mean?
Yeah.
$399.
If they launch at $399 or more, they're screwed. Screwed.
I don't know. The PlayStation.
You already used the F word before that, so I don't know why you changed it now.
Hey, it was once. Sick can edit it. You can edit that. It's just once.
Well, I don't think they're screwed. Like, at the end of the day, Sony's first party is industry leading, and that's just true. Xbox fans, right?
I don't even think it's about their first party. Even if they turned out to be $499, even if they turned out to be $499 and Microsoft was $399, so we literally had a reversal of 2013. Their momentum, when combined with just the size of their brand anyway, all that's going to do, it's not going to like reverse fortunes. All it's going to do is maybe close the gap. So instead of having the giant 2-to-1 plus gap we have now,
we're going to see
as big.
Yeah. We might even see something similar to the 360 PS3 generation, where the 360 only ended like at a 2 million console gap at the end of it all.
To be honest, I don't even think the 360 ended up behind.
No, the 360 did end up behind.
It was just
I don't know.
Slightly behind, not as behind as now, but like the gap between the two was in like the single digit percentages.
I think even what's his name, Zooge might have said that no, the 360 actually did wind up on top. It was like by the thinnest of margins, but I think it ended up on top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, either way, that is, and let's be clear.
That's still like let's not pretend here that both of those numbers would be fairly respectable. Let's say Gen 9, which is the one we're heading into, ends up 80 mil Xbox PS5, right? Like it was for the 360 PS3 generation. It was like 84, 85.
80. Yeah.
Like that's still a heavy blow to Sony's market share.
Yeah.
A heavy blow. They go from 100 mil to 110 mil, all the way down to 80 mil, equalizing your competition.
Yeah. Your direct they did the same competition. Then they had 130, 140 on PS2 to drop down to 85 on the PS3.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing.
It's the thing that like PlayStation has bigger brand recognition worldwide, but even with the bigger brand recognition, the 360 still equalized it in the end.
Yeah.
What will it do if the trend continues? Like
it just depends. Like I like if you look at each generation, basically from Gen 6 on, there's always been some major screw up or something like that that's influenced things. So the Dreamcast was coming off the disastrous Saturn, and then like Sony tried to cut them off at the pass by consistently bringing up the PS2 beforehand. Then the GameCube and the Xbox didn't release till a year later, so the PS2 just had the market to itself. Then in the generation after, you had the Blu-ray, $5.99, all the crap that went on there. Then the 360 had its R-Rod. Like you wonder how much the R-Rod hurt.
Yeah.
Then in 2013, we had TV, and Connect and the DRM stuff, and it just seems like every generation there's something. So you wonder.
Every generation there's screw ups. Yeah.
Yeah. At the moment, it's not looking like there's going to be a major screw up from anyone.
Yeah. My concern is if history repeats itself, someone somewhere in some hardware manufacturing pipeline, especially now with the pandemic going on, there's going to be some hardware defect on either of the boxes. It's going to lead to massive failure simply because like supply lines are stretched, people are stretched.
Don't think it's going to be on Microsoft's end.
No.
Well, it could be on either end at this point. It's a coin toss. We don't know.
Okay.
But I mean, you can engineer a piece of hardware as best as you can, and it can still screw up somewhere.
Yeah, everything breaks. But and this is the thing: the more
Things
complicated you make something, the more likely it is to not work. But look, these guys have been designing these boxes on both sides of the both camps, for 3-4 years maybe. One side certainly seems to have its act together a little more than the other, and that's genuinely because, according to the industry, Sony were going to go last year and had to pivot. I think that's genuine. This is just my opinion, so I'm not basing this on fact or anything I've heard, but it seems clear to me that this was a 2019 box that had a few tweaks under the hood to try and get it to compete, and I think genuinely it's the only reason these clocks and these boost clocks exist.
And that's fair. That's a fair assessment, right? Like people can look at those like assumptions and have to arrive at the conclusion that that maybe that's plausible. That's a fair assumption to make. And it seems as though had PlayStation just released last year, they wouldn't be supply constrained because there's no COVID.
That's the irony
of it. A full year. They would have had a full year on the market by themselves as next gen. Even if they launched at 9.2, which was the original estimate, 9.2 teraflops.
Even if they had launched at 8. Even at 8.
Yeah.
They would have been the de facto next gen box for a year.
Yep.
But because according to the rumors, now we don't have any concrete information, but they got greedy. They said we can't let them have the power crown. We need to take that back as much as we can, right?
Yeah,
And
it's a double
that's
whammy,
the situation.
though.
Exactly.
It's
Now it's the situation we find ourselves in, where Microsoft is well prepared to do whatever it takes to launch this year with a box that's as powerful as it is.
The biggest step change, right, is just the amount of actual investment from Microsoft. You know, this is no longer they're no longer at the back of the queue in terms of resources or budget. This is, you know, but this also
Bill
means
has a seat at the table. Xbox has a seat at the executive table.
It has to succeed though, which is why you're seeing such investment across Game Pass and all these different services. Is because you know, much like Office 365, Azure, everything else, this is going to become a core business, right? But gaming is huge as a multi-million-dollar a year business. It has to make money.
Speaking of Game Pass, too, great success. I mean, we just heard 10 million subs from their last investor earnings call. 10 million.
That's above where I thought it was going to be.
I mean, what we had numbers of PlayStation Now a year ago or something, and then one or two mil.
It was about just under a year ago. They had just hit like 1 million, and that's only after they had added a couple of first-party games
and dropped the
price, and and that's after how long on the market? 5 years?
It's ridiculous. Some ridiculous amount of time, and it's like Xbox has beaten them to the punch. Yeah, you can say
sorry.
What?
These are all $1. You know, friend codes. These are just.
I was just about to say something like that. I was just about to address that.
Like, I have to. I gotta say though, I have to put my hand up. Like I am. Have always said, like, I've argued in the Discord.
2 or 3.
I always thought that at absolute best, they were at 5 mil. Absolute best,
and it exceeded your expectations so high.
And it's actually not 10 million. It's above 10 million.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what they did say.
They like, and this is the thing. Like, Microsoft has changed in how they. I mean, they hardly ever report numbers, but it's like Game Pass, right? So when they advertise the Game Pass, they say 100 plus games. It's actually at like 200, and for some reason they stick to this 100 number.
Yep.
So yeah, we had heard that it's actually well above 10, but they're just saying 10 plus million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it sounds more confident. It sounds more confident in their numbers when they have such a large scaling factor, I guess you could say. Yeah. Where you can say, yeah, we're above 10 million, but their numbers could be 14 million for all you care. They're not going to say an exact measurement, because saying above 10 million gives everyone that nice, neat little number to pin everything on, while their upper numbers can still fluctuate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's great, and it's great for people that use Game Pass, right? And it's also a huge boon for whatever plans they have with regards to a next gen launch.
And not just that, like, it gives them a really good bargaining chip. So you know, when you've got 10 million subscribers, it's a lot easier to go to a third party and maybe just say, why don't you just launch day one on Game Pass there? There's, you know, we've got at least 10 million there.
Dangling that proverbial carrot.
Since we've had rumors saying that Doom Eternal might be heading to Game Pass within a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. Like, that game just came out.
Yeah.
And there are already rumors of people dangling money at Microsoft over id Software and Bethesda's head, saying, hey, look, you can put it on Game Pass. We'll give you this nice check, you know?
Yeah.
It's momentum from there.
And you've got to look at it from a developer perspective as well, right? You know that if your game, like Bleeding Edge as an example, is niche, there's 10 million customers out there. Now, only 1,000 of them might be saying, "Oh, I really wish there was a 4-player versus 4-player brawler game out there." It's there. It allows these niche games and to have these communities all with the same library, all being able to play together.
Yeah,
great. I mean,
exactly.
What could be better? I mean, we've got. What else did they announce? They announced that xCloud is now coming to Game Pass. So
I mean, we knew that anyway, though.
we theorised
They'd
that
already
they're
said
going to
that
link
last
the
year.
two together, right? But I mean,
Yeah. Well, they said it last year. They said it at XO.
did they? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said it at XO. But what the theory is that we think xCloud will replace Gold in Ultimate.
Yeah.
And then multiplayer needs to go free.
Yeah, 100%. And that's going to be their bombshell at Digital
It has
E3.
to be. And all you hear is, but they're not going to give up all that money. And it's like, but you can't think that short term.
Exactly. And especially now that you have a number like 10 million Game Pass subs to point at. It's like, that's why they're going to give up the free money, because there's more free money elsewhere.
And more to the point, they're unifying their markets, PC and Xbox. It's one platform. You can't charge for one thing on one and have it different on the other, right? You just can't.
That's what I mean. Like, and I look at something like Minecraft. You know, my kids play it on their iPads, and on the iPad you don't have to pay for multiplayer.
Yeah.
On the Switch, Switch you do now. On the PC they don't. And then, like, I don't know, it was just annoying. Like, I had my daughter try and jump on to play Fortnite with her cousins.
Yeah.
And then,
I have gold.
Yeah, she had to play on Switch because on Xbox I forgot.
Yeah.
Because I'm console sharing. So, because that's not my home console, the gold wasn't just there. So she couldn't play on Xbox, had to play on Switch. It's just like, it needs to go away. If they're serious about this stuff, it needs to go away.
And you also, like, last note on that is, if you look again at the recent games with gold that got announced, you can see where the money is going internally, right?
Yeah.
It's going with these third-party deals and other things on Game Pass, because that's got to be the focus. Games with gold at this moment is an afterthought, where really old games or games that don't cost them a lot to secure and give away for free are going.
Yeah.
And whether it continues, there's two tacks. Either they say, from now on, we're transitioning everyone that's got an existing Xbox Live Gold sub into Game Pass. Congratulations, have fun. The good thing that they should do is say that they won't leave auto renewal on. They should say, we've just transitioned you and we'll give you X number of months, and then when it kicks off, you can still play everything. You can play online, great. But get those customers into Game Pass and trying it out, because 9 times out of 10 they'll go, oh, this was great, right? And you'll see that games with gold, that whole here's some free games, I think it's just going to either fade away, or if they do keep gold, it will only be to give you those kind of free titles, and it'll
be a discount program or something like that.
But then
it's just
then Game Pass gives you 20% off everything in its library.
I mean, I think at that point too, like, just make Game Pass Ultimate like the thing with the deals, right? Like Game Pass Ultimate exclusive deals on the Xbox store. That seems like a reasonable thing that they would do.
Yeah.
Especially considering they're trying to funnel everyone into Ultimate right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe get rid of gold as an independent thing.
And just include it in Game Pass.
Use that name gold on one of the tiers of Game Pass.
Yeah, maybe. Just include it
Game Pass Ultimate, Game Pass Gold, Game Pass whatever. I don't know.
It's going away.
Right. Yeah, like, and the thing is, what people don't understand is once multiplayer is free, you gain more customers.
Yeah.
Like, I know when I used to work in retail, I had a much easier time selling PlayStation 3s than I did 360s.
Because you also had to sell them on a $60 a year of gold.
That's right. Yeah. Because remember, despite what the hardcore gamer will tell you, the vast majority of people are buying these consoles to play COD, FIFA, Madden, all that sort of stuff.
And whatever lets them play those games with the least amount of barriers is the one they're going to go.
That's right. So if I was selling a 360 to someone that wanted to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 back then, I'd then have to say, well, by the way, you've also got to pay for gold so that you can play online. But on the PS3, you didn't have to. So it was so much easier to sell a PS3 to people just because of that free multiplayer. And the same thing will happen with these new consoles if the multiplayer goes free. Hell of a lot easier to sell people on an Xbox when they don't have to pay the extra for multiplayer as well.
Yeah. And especially considering, like, what if you think that if Microsoft gets rid of the gold requirement, will Sony keep it for the PlayStation?
Yep.
Like PlayStation
They
Plus?
sure will.
Like, if they do, they're going to catch a lot of crap for it. And considering the way they behaved over the recent years, trying to pivot into doing specific things, they might just get rid of the PS Plus requirement for
They've got a
multiplayer.
big army of viral marketers that will move the argument elsewhere for them.
Those goalposts will switch over.
Yeah,
so I appreciate
okay.
we went off on a big old tangent there, but just to loop back round to May the 7th, the other things, and I'll just go through our list. The other things that we're kind of theorising we might see was going to be the new game from Playdead. Now, we know that they signed a publishing deal with Epic, but historically they've had a very close relationship with MS. So, and they've got a big stage, right? So it's a good place to show off or announce your game to get.
And hold on a sec, I will stop you for a second. Please. Having a publishing deal with Epic, does that actually preclude them from releasing on console?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Which is
it only precludes them from releasing on Steam.
Which is why I think that they'll be there, right? We also know, and we've seen on previous Microsoft shows, Dying Light 2. We saw, I think, 2018. Maybe 2019 as well, but we fully expect that to be shown with a new release date given, or until the console's announced holiday. Cyberpunk, look, we all know that there was this weird moment where they were releasing a limited edition console on the dying gen Xbox One X.
We spoke about this last time. Last episode, yeah.
But fully expect to see new. And I'm hoping Series X footage of Cyberpunk to really show off the bells and whistles about what the console's capable of.
Did you see any of the leaked footage of Cyberpunk?
I refuse to watch any of it. There's no point.
I did. And man, did that look bad.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be what it was running on. I don't know what that was running on. I want to hope that was running on like a Switch
OGX
or a 1S because it did not look good at all.
Yeah, there's been people talking about maybe it was just an early dev build. And I kind of agree with that. It was just...
Yeah.
It didn't look right, even for a modern AAA game.
I've played early dev stuff before, right? And it always looks like shit. Excuse my French. Until 2 months before when everything's polished up. So, I'm just not going to freak out about that kind of footage. They're a proven studio. It's an ambitious game. I'll just wait and see where it lands. And to be honest, I'm going to do the same silly thing I always do, which is suck myself into the hype for a genre that I might not play or don't have time for, buy it, go ooh, and then never pick it up again. But whatever. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll suck me into the game and make me want to play it. The other ones that we had on our list were EA, maybe getting the FIFA marketing back for Xbox, and because you got to remember when we saw the Series X trailer,
there was a soccer game,
Halo, and Forza. That could be PES, but unlikely.
Yeah.
And then I think the last couple that we kind of guessed at were, are we going to see something from Platinum because they've teased their bonus stage of their kind of reveals that they've had recently?
And Microsoft in the last few years has always had a habit of showing Japanese stuff, whether it's at E3, whether it's at Gamescom, they've always had a habit of showing Japanese games. So it would make sense maybe that Platinum, who knows, maybe they did a deal where Platinum show number 5.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, if they've got this great relationship and there's stuff coming, why didn't the Wonderful 101 get an actual Xbox port? Because the engines are too different. What?
Well,
craziness.
Hold on. How do we know there isn't a Wonderful 101 port coming?
Yeah, maybe Phil's cracked his wallet open and
greased the wheels there.
Yeah, who knows?
And
I don't know. The last 3, obviously, we have Crossfire and Kart Rider Drift. Will we see some more stuff from Remedy and the Kart Rider team on those games? Are Rocksteady going to finally show off what they got? I don't think so. Just as a heads up, this was a prediction, but the more I've kind of dived into it, don't think so. But I'll have to wait and see. And then obviously, Nick, no pressure on you, but we do expect Elden Ring to be there, right? Like we've said it, we expect it to be there.
Pretty confident.
That's.
I did check up. I checked up. I've been sending DMs. So you heard if Elden Ring's going to be there, and they haven't heard anything, but they're relatively confident that it should be there.
And for those that listen to this podcast or watch us on YouTube, can you clear something up for us, right? Just reply in the YouTube comments. You can at me, whatever you want to do. But what is this? Anytime Elden Ring comes up, Elden Ring. Like, what? Is there a meme I'm missing out on here?
What is it? I don't know.
What is it? We don't know.
It's a thing.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So that's everything we're expecting to see from the May 7th show. Now, there was rumour that Lockhart was going to be revealed in the coming weeks. A couple of weeks back, I think we might have touched on it in a podcast. It's not happening. Don't expect to see anything Lockhart related, as far as we know, on the May 7th show.
It never makes it to market.
I think it's going to make it to market, and I think it's a good shout. But I know that there's a lot of argument out there, it's not up to me to make the case for it. It's up to Microsoft to get their marketing message right and show off why it's a good idea. But,
yeah, well, we're not employed by Microsoft, so we don't really have a reason to do PR for them, do we?
No, we do not.
Why should we go into bat for Microsoft? We don't need to.
No, they can do it.
Microsoft, if you'd like to send the checks, I need an updated direct deposit.
Cairo will catch that for you.
I mean, why would anyone want to go into bat for a company they don't work for?
Yeah. I know what you're alluding to, but I'll just leave it open and people can guess. People can guess what you might be referring to there. We've had a couple of extra rumours, though, right? We've had some extra rumours floating around. One of them, actually, from our dear friend Jez over at Windows Central. And the rumour is that Lockhart, in whatever shape or form that it may come, may not have a disk drive. Now...
So, yeah, either that or there'll be a version without a disk drive.
Yeah. So, I mean, my thoughts are... I personally think that it should have one, because if you're going for the budget market also likes to buy physical games because they trade in and they buy used copies. That's my personal opinion. I don't know.
All you're going to do is increase the box by $50.
Yeah, so we'll see. But
well, what if the disk drive was an add-on and Lockhart was almost like a GameCube shaped /size thing, and I don't know if you remember
the XQ.
I just sold my GameCube recently as a big bundle, and I sold it with the Game Boy player. Do you remember the Game Boy player that just slotted underneath it? And it was same shape as the GameCube. It wasn't like a USB style plug-in thing like the HD DVD drive. It blended into the form factor of the GameCube. So what if the disk drive for Lockhart was sold as a separate thing that would sit underneath, and then you just dock the Lockhart console?
No, because the thing is, they'd have to do more research on like getting a proprietary port down there, because they don't want just a regular USB.
It would just be a serial port. It would just be a serial port.
I mean, because even then, they don't want people plugging in random shit into the console. They're gonna want to do something at least semi-proprietary to make it so that people can just like only use that port for an expansion.
Let people tinker.
They don't need people tinkering with their Xboxes. People were tinkering with the OG Xbox when it came out because it was basically just a PC and a console wrapper, and that thing was hacked.
Look what we got out of it. We got Cody out of it.
That thing was hacked high heaven. They don't want that. None of them want that.
So speaking of other things, from elsewhere in the sort of journalistic sphere around Xbox, Windows Central, again via Jez, did a really, really great article with a number of developers from the Xbox sort of camp and some third parties in there, just talking about what they feel the benefits are going to be from next gen. It's well worth a read. Go and look it up. But suffice to say, lots of people are very, very excited about the SSD. So clearly Sony have got their focus in the right place, judging by their marketing message. So
and it strikes me. It strikes me very. Not strikes me, I guess. It makes me very happy that we're finally getting into a generation that isn't going to be constrained by memory bandwidth.
Yeah.
Especially since we were so like. CPU and memory bandwidth have been the biggest problems of this generation of consoles. The biggest problem.
Yeah.
Because those hard drives are terrible. They're awful.
So slow. They're so slow. I hate them. I
hate that it takes like 20 years to load into GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 just to play like a quick, maybe 30-minute session.
I think it was GameSpot that just put out. Was it GameSpot that put out the article saying don't bother buying a PlayStation 5 or new Xbox this year?
It was Gizmodo.
Was it Gizmodo? It was one of them.
Really?
It started with G. And
wow.
and it was based around the fact that they might not have much in terms of launch games. And I'm like, honestly, let's just say both of them didn't have much in the way of launch games, which I'm pretty sure is untrue. But let's just say that's true. I reckon it's worth buying them just for the upgrade to the current gen stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like just being able to play everything off an SSD, and with the Series X, it's going to boost all our games, and there'll be Series X patches for games, and I reckon it's worth it just for that.
Yep, easily.
Yeah,
100%.
Easily, 100%.
Yep. I can't wait. I can't wait to dive into some games that have just been a bit shonky.
I honestly just really want people to use do crazy crap with the Series X power. Just like make Modern Warfare 2019 get a Series X patch where for 14, if you lower the resolution of 1440p, you can bump the frame rate up to 120 hertz.
Yeah,
like that would be insane.
I've played Modern Warfare at 120 and it's great. It's great.
Even just to play Recall without like 15-minute loading times and stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to see Microsoft kind of push support for ultra wide and super ultra wide monitors as well, so you could play in 21:9 and stuff like that. Because there are a lot. For me, the likelihood is as much as in whatever new man cave setup I get in the next few months when I finally am allowed to move. As much as I've got a 4K TV up here, like I really want to be able to quick hot swap ports and play on a monitor, and sometimes especially when it's in that future, if it's Halo Infinite come launch and I'm playing 4v4 or whatever, I want to be like focused in. I don't want to be looking at a TV or dealing with too big a screen for my distance or whatever. I want to have ultra competitive, take advantage of the refresh rate of my monitor and all of that stuff. So
that's what I've been kind of doing with my One X right now. Is I have cords set up for both my monitor and my TV. So if I just want to relax in my bed and play my One X games like my RPGs, then I can just pop it in over here in the display cabinet, and all the cords are right there ready to go.
Yeah.
And if I want to play the shooters, I have it right next to my desk. I'm probably going to do the same thing with the Series X. What I really want is more mouse and keyboard support on the console, because we didn't get mouse and keyboard support until halfway through this generation, and very few games use it. I think the biggest one I can think of is Modern Warfare 2019.
Yeah. Does Sims 4 have it yet?
I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't played Sims 4. I know someone who does, but I haven't asked her if she...
It was supposed to get it. I just don't know if it did, because I've got a friend that really was looking forward to Sims 4 and got it under the pretense that mouse and keyboard was meant to be coming, but I don't know if it ever did.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know about that, but I would love to see more mouse and keyboard support, especially with the bigger integration with Windows, especially with the bigger integration with PC gaming. I would be completely fine, and I'm pretty sure Microsoft is exploring the possibility of potentially releasing mouse and keyboard only games on the Series X. And look, they're available. These games are not meant for controllers, and there's no way we can make controllers work with these games in any reasonable fashion without changing the fundamentals of the game itself. Yeah. So if you pop in a mouse and keyboard, you can play those games.
Yeah. I don't see a problem with that. Especially if it's a branded, if Microsoft's go, here's a little mini keyboard mouse thing for your console.
Do the thing like Nintendo's been doing since the Wii. Put on the back of the box or on the game description in the store what controllers are supported, what inputs are supported with this game.
Yep.
Turning the back onto the back of a Switch box, exactly what play modes are supported.
It's no different from releasing a game saying this is a Kinect only game. This is a mouse and keyboard only game. You need a mouse and
that would open the way for more Age of Empires games to be on Xbox day one with PC without having to worry about optimizing for controller.
Yeah.
It would get more FPS titles from PC to console, because now they don't have to worry about aim assist. They don't have to worry about balancing for controller input. They don't have to worry about separating matchmaking queues.
The games that do support both, my closest one, and I know Ed loves me bringing up this game constantly. So, Friday night, I did my usual Sea of Thieves stream on our YouTube channel, and we kept all our loot right up until the end, and then we came up against a PC player galleon. And we can stand toe to toe from a nautical combat point of view, but as soon as one of them are on board, it was
screwed.
It was decimation. We were decimated. There was one guy just killed all three of us twice, and we were like, and we lost it all. Right, we lost like 6 hours worth of loot. I was bitter as the seas were salty. Right, you could taste it in the air. So that kind of bugs me because I want to play on a pad. That's a pad game to me. Right, and I have no desire to get good on mouse and keyboard. I just don't get on with it. Right, I'm a console kid. I can get by on a single player point of view as mouse and keyboard, but I'm never going to be able to compete with people that play CS:GO and all of those kind of games, Valorant. And what annoys me and frustrates me is I'm playing on my preferred platform of choice because I want the frame rate and the graphical options and the bells and whistles, but I'm punished
because of that, you're matchmaking
and put into that queue, even though I'm on a pad, and that irks me greatly.
Yeah, and the thing is, the only game I can think of that does that right now is Modern Warfare, because it separates the matchmaking queues out by input method, at least partially.
Yep, and you can't change it mid-game.
It's not okay. So you can still get mouse and keyboard players. I know Nick is questioning this. You can still get
because I play against them all the time.
Yeah, but you can choose.
You can still get mouse and keyboard play.
Oh yeah, you can disable cross-platform.
Yeah.
No. But what I'm saying is, there's a game that does this really well. I can't remember it. But in Modern Warfare, it has a preference for input method. So if you're using a controller, even on PC, it will prefer matches with lobbies full of pad players, of gamepad players. Even though you might get 1 or 2 PC players, you won't get like 10 PC players unless you're also using a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that because I've played with both input methods. There's a clear preference in the matchmaking.
Yeah.
Honestly, I honestly think like future crossplay titles should be segregating queues by input method. 100%. Keep crossplay on because it benefits everyone to have such a large player pool, but make it so that if you're playing on a specific input method that has a competitive advantage, you are in your own queue with other people using that method. Because it's not fair to the people using a method that they prefer but isn't as competitively advantageous.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, now that the Xbox and the PlayStation 4 support mouse and keyboard for COD, there's no reason not to separate mouse and keyboard for controller from controller.
Exactly. So hopefully that's
the game I'm talking about. The game I'm talking about is Fortnite. It's Fortnite does it really well.
I've never heard of it.
It separates out, instead of separated out by platform, it separates it out by input method.
Yeah.
So controller players, even on PC, will all be against each other on controller. If you're on touch, you're all against touch. If you're on mouse and keyboard, you're all against mouse and keyboard. And the only time it crosses the stream, so to speak, is if you're partying up with people from all around.
Yeah.
So that's it.
So
I've definitely come across the cheaters in COD.
Yeah, God, I have. It was horrific.
Man.
So we don't have, for those that only watch this podcast for this segment, we don't have a rumour mill this week. All right. So, don't forget to like and subscribe. If I've put a timestamp for the rumour mill and you click here and then there's nothing, just give us a little like. So we'll move on to.
Well, before that, I did want to ask you guys if you had like.
Okay, we won't move on.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys if you had anything to expand upon in your reviews, because I know you did. I know you, John, did Gears Tactics, and I know you.
I didn't do Gears Tactics.
Oh, who? Oh, what?
So Gears Tactics. So okay, let's talk about the Gears Tactics review. Right, tangent alert. So, so Gears Tactics. XboxEra as a group of people, none of us work in the industry, right? We are all gamers, just like you watching or listening, and we wanted to start doing this podcast and start doing these kinds of things and put it together, but from a community perspective, and provide that kind of unified voice and talk about the Xbox platform as a whole. When it came to Gears Tactics, I looked across, when we got review code, I looked across our team internally, and none of us really had the bandwidth to do a review in the time frame that was required from an embargo point of view. And more to the point, I'd noticed in the lead up, in all of the recent kind of media coming from the announce to now, that it was frequently and almost repeatedly compared to XCOM. Now, XCOM is a PC-only strategy tactics title, and it's not a genre I have any experience with. So, whilst I could have just booted up Gears Tactics and given you my thoughts on it, and just so you know, if you want to attach a score so far to my playthrough, I'm really enjoying it. It's dipping my toe into that genre that I normally wouldn't have. I'd probably give it like an 8 or something like that. Now, what we did for the review is I actually reached out to someone I personally know who has done and played XCOM for 25 years. He absolutely loves the game, and he does regular kind of video uploads where he does mods of his squad, but he calls them all after us that he knows in real life. So we get to watch what happens to Sick this week, or watch what happens to someone else, pick a name. So I reached out to him and said, hey, not sure if you've got the time to do this. Is this something you'd be interested in doing? He'd be like, I'm not seeing anything on it, but I'll go in blind and I'll give you my thoughts and feedback. Now, admittedly, comparatively, we are an outlier in terms of the review score. But you've got to remember that viewpoint, that is his viewpoint, and I can't disagree with it, right? He makes valid points. Whether you agree with the way the review has been formatted or expanded upon, that's fine. We're open to criticism, but I think every point he made, from his viewpoint as an XCOM fan, rings true. It is a first step into the strategy genre, and it's not my place to tell him or edit his words to be something different. So I know we maybe caught a bit of flack from some of the Xbox community on that one, but it's just one person's thoughts, and it's okay if you think the game's a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. It's not going to affect your life. So that's my bit on Gears Tactics, and I know Nick, you reviewed. Yeah,
did you have anything you wanted to add to your Streets of Rage review? Anything you wanted to expand upon? Or
no, Streets of Rage. I mean, it's funny because in the rush to review it and get it out as quick as I could, there was stuff I forgot that I wanted to say in that review, like the interactive environments, which are relatively new to Streets of Rage. Yeah, I love the game so much.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much else I want to add.
You gave it a fair shake, a fair score?
Yeah, 9 out of 10 is a pretty good score. I mean, there was literally one or two small issues that I didn't, again, think I forgot to mention, but it's nothing that would have knocked score down. Like, for example, the audio in the game is very muted. Like, you have to turn it right up to hear anything, whether that's on headphones, soundbar.
Oh, really?
It's super, super low, and I'm not sure if they know that or not.
Yeah, I saw you mention as well that there was some connectivity.
Oh, yeah, the lag
stuff.
The lag. I did mention, I tried battle mode, which is basically just one-on-one mode. You just fight someone else. And oh man, that was unplayable. Really, really bad. The online co-op had noticeable lag, but not unplayable lag. Where the battle mode was flat out unplayable. Stay away from the mode. Don't even bother, because you just don't know who you're gonna. Well, yeah, you don't know who you're gonna get matched with. I'm sure if someone from the UK matches with someone from the UK, it'll be great. But God only knows who I was matching with. But whoever I played against, it was just, whoever it was, you couldn't play it. It was just impossible.
It's
But I kind of expected that. When I've played Streets of Rage 2, the 360 release, the Xbox Live Arcade release, when I've played that online, there was lag in that too. So I just kind of expected it to be there for 4.
Yeah, it rings a bell from a technical perspective about some of the problems, I think, and I'm going to use, I think it's Halo 3 and possibly 4. I'm not sure when they switched to servers, but I think Halo 3, when they were doing co-op campaign and things like that, and I wish there's a guy called Firewolf who used to be frequent guy on the Halo forums and stuff like that back in the day. He used to talk about this quite a bit. It was something to do with how the servers work in terms of whether they're asynchronous or whatever. And it's basically like one is always the lead and the rest are playing catch up and waiting to be fed. And it leads to this kind of weird, horrible lag. And you know, if you're playing transatlantically, it's not fun. And I think possibly for an indie dev, that's perhaps some extra work that they maybe just couldn't achieve. But either or, it's good to hear that it's a really good game, and I'm looking forward to diving in.
Yeah,
doing some co-op.
It's everything I hoped for. It's everything I knew it would be when it was announced, because I had played. So it was announced 2018. I was in Greece on holiday in Greece the day it was announced. I remember it very vividly. And I had played Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap from Lizard Cube. So I knew that the game was in good hands. Like, as far as I'm concerned, give Lizard Cube and .emu, just give them everything. Like, let's see, Sega should let them bring back Golden Axe, Altered Beast, Shinobi, just Eternal Champions. Just let them Ristar, Dynamite Heady, like whatever they want to bring back, just let them bring it back.
Or how about Microsoft buys them and all those IPs and has them work?
If you want to do it from an Xbox slot. But no, I mean, it's great to hear that such a beloved franchise has still got some spark in it, and it's good stuff. So
I think Streets of Rage. I think Streets of Rage will in some way affect what's happening with Battletoads, because we ain't heard anything about that game, and I understand that, you know, it's not like you can have just one game in the genre, but like with how good Streets of Rage is and with how mediocre Battletoads has looked thus far, I just don't envision a world where they bother releasing Battletoads the way it was.
The reason I've played a lot of Battletoads at the Microsoft Store in London. I think there's a reason that it's gone very quiet. I think it will be a launch title for the Series X. Why not? Just as one of those kind of arcadey, you know, here it is, it's on Game Pass, have fun, you know. But my hope is that Rare and Delilah are, you know, just taking some of the elements of it back to the drawing board, because I've seen it on a nice 4K screen in the developer mode, and the art is great, but it just didn't feel right, and it just didn't play great. And I appreciate that's early preview and all that sort of stuff, but it was you know, at the end of the day, it was just frustrating. You know, if you're playing those kind of games, and you know, from a new generation perspective, I wasn't really into them when I was a kid. Like, the closest thing I would probably link them to would be something like Castle Crashers. If you want to get that kind of Castle Crashers vibe, then it's got to play and be fun and well animated, and they've got some of the right pieces there, but it's just not quite where it needs to be. So it
isn't clicking all the way.
I don't know.
Tweak it.
I don't know if any of you played Double Dragon Neon.
No.
But from a visual art style point of view, I probably would have gone more like Double Dragon Neon for Battletoads, and I would have had it animating and playing and feeling way tighter than it appears to, based on what we've seen thus far.
Yeah.
It should be very fast, like even faster and tighter than Streets of Rage is, as a matter of fact. But I don't know if that's going to happen. That game definitely needs to go back.
I do want to ask everybody in the chat and whatever, like chat, I mean YouTube comments or whatever. I haven't done any review, obviously, but I've been thinking about doing a playthrough of Morrowind to upload to the channel. If anyone wants to see that, probably not, because I'm an idiot and I kind of talk like one too. So
I want to see that.
I mean, if anyone wants to see that, let us know in the comments. I'll figure something out. I don't have a capture card yet because the damn things are like $200 to $400.
And nothing's compatible with a Mac, but you know, that's fine.
The HD 60s Plus is compatible with the Mac. The Elgato HD 60s Plus is compatible with the Mac.
Would you be playing it on your Xbox?
I'd be playing it on my Xbox.
So why don't you just stream either via Twitch or Mixer and then just upload?
Because I want to do. There's a lot of editing that I want to do, and
yeah,
I'd rather have the actual I'd rather have the actual video
lossless
feed,
file. Yeah.
the lossless video feed file, than work with compressed to hell and back Twitch or Mixer streams that I download on my PC.
It's not that bad. I mean, I put my Streets of Rage 4 stream up there.
I watched it. You're just chillaxing on your sofa, just being like, is that Kinect that you're using to film as well?
Yeah.
You're just like, this is all right.
That's just Kinect.
Yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see that content. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll do it if there's enough people who want it. I don't know.
Well, seeing as you've given me a nice segue, before we dive into my usual sort of favourite segment that we do on this podcast, which is Community Questions, I did just want to touch on again, if you've subscribed to us on YouTube or if you follow anything we do on Twitter or whatever, our YouTube channel, we're really pleased right now. I mean, it looks like we've got like 50,000 subscribers, so I want to give a massive thanks to Pre-Drag, who is our art guy from XboxEra, who jumped in and joined the team. He's given everyone a kick up the behind from an art perspective, and we love our thumbnails now. They look super cool. So if you like the new look of the channel, just drop
the
a
intro,
note
the art, everything has been done by him.
The new intro you saw on his podcast.
He is phenomenal. He does great work, and we're pleased that he's on board with us.
Yeah, and
very pleased.
Equally, we've also had a new addition to the video team, which is Soul Blazers. Again, massive shout out to him because he has put in a lot of work. And indeed, if you've watched the predictions video that we released yesterday, today is Sunday, so Saturday earlier this week. He's got a silky smooth voice, and all of the video team are like, including myself, are like, oh no, we better get off our asses and do some work. So, he's giving us a kick up the behind.
I picked up Final Cut Pro just to do editing work, just in case, So
I just wanted to give a shout out to those guys specifically. So, thank you for everything you're doing.
And thanks to everyone who subscribed to us so far. We hit 500 sometime over the last month.
Yep.
And it is a fantastic
570
milestone.
or something?
We're 570 something.
We're 576. 576 right now.
That's crazy to us.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who subscribes and continues to watch the channel and listen to us on Spotify or wherever you happen to listen to us from.
Yeah.
It's been a fantastic ride so far, and we hope it continues and only gets stronger.
Yeah, and there are some seriously cool things coming that I am literally not allowed to talk about. But yeah, you should be hyped. You should be hyped. There's going to be some cool stuff this year, and we can't wait to talk about it. So. Yeah, look forward to it. So look, we'll slide nicely into community questions, and I will look to Special Ed for
me. Okay,
the Twitterverse.
I've got the Twitter ones.
The Twitterverse.
So the first question is from Soul Blazers. I don't know why he didn't just ask it in the Discord, but okay. He's got two quick questions. One, do you think the gameplay wording means we'll see actual gameplay and not just cinematics? And two, will we see games already released on the Xbox One, such as how they showed Gears 5 running on this Series X? Chances are you'll have answered both already. We haven't answered both of those.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a mix of both. So we might, because all they said was that it was a third-party showcase. They didn't say gameplay only.
Yeah.
So we'll see a mix of both. So, for example, if the Elden Ring thing is true, then that is supposed to be gameplay. Assassin's Creed is all but guaranteed to be gameplay.
Yeah.
But we'll probably see some CG trailers as well.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
My personal hope is that we see a little CG trailer and then some gameplay. That's my preferred mix. I don't mind CG trailers.
Yeah.
As long as they give me an idea. Or if they're cool, but if they're just a weird waste of time, like that tries to be vague and edgy, then I'm kind of like I tune out. But
and as to the Xbox One thing running on Series X, that could be all the games.
Yeah,
like Elden Ring, for example, was announced for current gen.
Yeah,
but it's being shown at a Series X third-party showcase, supposedly. So I'd say that would be the case. And it's funny that we're bringing that up because we're talking about the third-party stuff, something I just thought of, and I'm really sorry about this tangent, but we've heard nothing about the 2020 COD. And if you look back over the last however many years, Call of Duty games have always been shown in May. They've always been announced / revealed in May.
Yes, but the Sony camp are meant to be doing something at the end.
I know.
May, so
are they? Or was it June?
I thought a couple more weeks was what was alluded to. So later in May, we'll see. I don't think that. I don't think.
Oh, they wouldn't have got. Surely they wouldn't have got the marketing back for COD.
No
way. I'd be surprised if they got the marketing back for COD.
I don't care.
I don't think they care enough about getting the marketing back for Call of Duty. They're fine just marketing the crap out of Game Pass. So
probably
that's where the moneymaker is. So
yeah. Just thought it was funny.
But yes, I would certainly expect to Soulblaze's second part of his question, or part 2, whatever. I expect
it'll be Xbox One games.
Yeah, you'll get across the board. There'll be cross-gen across the board for this year.
Or they might, maybe there's some sort of deal where everyone's showing, because remember, something we obviously didn't mention in the podcast, which I'm surprised we didn't mention, Assassin's Creed is a smart delivery game, just like Cyberpunk is. So what if this show is all Xbox One games that are getting smart delivery? Maybe it's a smart delivery showcase. Yeah. Be a pretty cool way of doing it.
Speaking of smart delivery and this being a third-party show, and again, apologies for this tangent, it doesn't require further commentary. I just thought it was amusing. Did anyone see the Push Square article that was titled something to do with the May show, but talking about it being all Sony or PlayStation third-party games they're going to launch? It was really cringy. It was awful. It was a really bad title. It's worth go look it up on. It was amusing. I don't know if it's been edited since then, but it was not. It was not
rather not give it. Yeah. Rather not give it.
Cool.
Next question. Hypernova 474. Do you think Xbox will double down on Game Pass Ultimate perks on more popular games next gen? Do you think they will be limited to free-to-play and games on Game Pass? I assume he's limited to free-to-play games on Game Pass, but yeah. They'll probably pick up on the perks thing. They're pretty popular on Twitch, and I like them. I use them a lot.
I don't see them being limited to games that are just free to play. I think they'll be limited to games that are on Game Pass, though. That's the point.
Yeah. No, I quite like them. I use the Twitch ones for Rocket League and for Apex Legends and Doom Eternal, and the Twitch ones are great. So I think they should stick with it.
What?
Yeah. I think they'll pick it up more. I like it. I quite like it. It's a good way to keep people tied in. Like, it may sound dumb, but some people like getting that sort of stuff. It's just one more reason among others to stay subscribed.
Yeah.
Because some of that DLC can be real expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And people like, cosmetic skins and stuff like that. It's just nice to have them. Yeah. It's nice to have that extra choice. So, 100%.
The next question from the Winter Shoulder, who's a friend of mine. Will played Streets of Rage with him last night. Hey guys, always enjoy the podcast. Number 1, if Streets of Rage 4 is a big sales success, what would you like to see improved? I'd love more animation and grown-up Skate, Max, and Zan back.
It sounds like a question purely queued up for you.
Yeah.
I'll let you fill this one.
Number 2, been enjoying Anthem lately. Weird, I know. But at this rate, will 2.0 be a full next-gen upgrade? It's an interesting question. As to the Streets of Rage 4 thing, I don't know. Maybe if they make enough money, they'll... I'm hoping they add more playable characters, like in the hand-drawn animation, whether that's Max, Zan, Skate. I'd love to play as Shiva. I hope they let us play as the kangaroo, as the boxing kangaroo again, like in Streets of Rage 3. Hopefully, maybe there are unlocks that we just don't know about yet, because it seems that this game is really tapping into that Easter egg thing. For people that are watching that haven't discovered this in Streets of Rage 4 yet, anytime you see a bare knuckle arcade machine in the background, there will also be a taser nearby. And if you pick up the taser and break the bare knuckle arcade machine with that taser, it will transport you to a retro level, a la Doom 2016, where you discover the old Doom levels. They did the exact same thing in Streets of Rage. So you pick up a taser, you break the arcade machine, and it transports you to a section of one of the old Streets of Rage games. So far, it's only been Streets of Rage 2.
Uh-huh.
I've done like 3 of them. There's an achievement for it as well. Cool. But yeah, really nice touch. It's really, really cool.
Very cool.
As to Anthem?
Yeah, Anthem.
Hopefully, it'd be interesting because it was announced that they were doing the 2.0 and we've kind of heard nothing since.
Yeah.
I actually like Anthem. I'm one of those people that likes it as is because I just love. For me, I don't give a crap about the loot. I don't care about endgame. I don't care about any of that stuff. I just love how much I feel like Iron Man playing that game.
So
it's so good.
I thought the game looked gorgeous, and I played the demo, beta. I can't remember. And I flew around and I shot some stuff. I did like the intro, and you know what? It looked really, really cool, but it clearly had come out of the oven too quickly. It obviously had a very troubled development. If they are super serious about it and they do, kind of like what Ubisoft did with Rainbow Six Siege, and I'm not saying Rainbow Six Siege released in a bad shape, but they just stuck with it and invested. If they really believe that they've got something there and they think that they can recover and make it a good game, go for it. But I also feel go on, sorry.
I was going to say, I think I know what Will's alluding to, though, because it could be a case of maybe the reason we've heard nothing about Anthem is maybe it's going to get... I mean, there'll be a 2.0 for Xbox One, but you have to wonder if there'll be a Series X smart delivery upgrade that takes advantage of the SSD, which means for anyone who has played Anthem knows that in between sections, you get that stupid loading screen. Imagine that goes now with the SSD. Imagine we get at least 1080-60.
Yeah.
Now that we've got the horsepower for it, man, that could breathe brand new life into that game on Series X. Maybe not on Xbox One because we're still held down by the garbage CPU and the crappy hard drive, but that game could find new life on Series X and PS5 potentially.
Yeah.
If it's upgraded for them.
I think personally the whole 2.0 Anthem, we're going to still work on this. I feel it was somewhat of an empty promise. I maybe I'm wrong, but I just think that they've looked at it and gone, yep, this was a massive commercial flop. We screwed up. Just move on to something else because we've tainted the brand at this point. Now, there's arguments to be made either way. That's just my personal viewpoint. But if they do, it would be cool to see, an evolved version of Anthem. Maybe make a deal with EA and release it either as free or on Game Pass and try and get some people into it. We'll see. But it would be cool if they did something like that. I'd try it if it came out again with a new moniker and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Next question. From JSing10J. What will be the form factor of PS5? Will it be similar to Xbox Series X? Don't know, buddy.
Wait, what podcast is this?
Wait,
am I in the wrong meeting?
I mean, I won't lie. I have potentially heard something that I don't know how true it is.
Ooh.
And yeah, I've actually heard something about the PS5 form factor. And I don't know how true it is, so don't take this as gospel as if to say this is it.
Should you even mention it?
I don't know. I'll find out soon. But I don't know. All I had heard was that the PS5 form factor is not big. It's just awkward. That's all I had heard.
Interesting.
I don't know how true it is. I just heard that it's awkward to the point where it may be trickier to find a spot for than the Series X.
Oh dear.
Don't tell me it's essentially just the dev kit design.
But see, I don't get why that would be awkward though. If it was,
yeah,
that's true.
I don't know.
Like it's still essentially flat.
What if it's a?
Forget the V thing. It's still essentially
what if it's
flat
a sphere? What if it's a sphere?
Soccer
ball, a soccer ball size sphere. Where the hell are you gonna put that?
I don't even know if what I heard was trolling. I don't know if it was just a flat out lie. I'm not sure. It was just something I'd heard that it's potentially even more awkward to find a spot for than the Series X is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't mind I think that dev kit design could actually be made to look really nice if they just tweaked it here and there, smoothed it out.
I saw a concept art that kind of like people were banding around, and it. I don't want to say it was X-shaped, but it had this kind of angle to it, like kind of like it was like that.
I know the one you're talking about.
On the when Mark Cerny was doing his talk through, the same shape, like literally the same shape. So that
exactly
makes me think that one is possibly legit.
But apparently though that was a fan render, allegedly.
Allegedly. Just thought it was curious.
Right? Allegedly.
I don't mind that design either.
Yeah, we'll see.
Quite like.
The whole world is waiting, so we'll find out.
Next question. Are you guys getting tired of being asked about Elden Ring every 5 seconds?
Ooh, Elden Ring. Tell us what this meme is.
I get asked a lot. I get messages in Discord a lot saying, once this May 7 show was announced, I started getting DMs, and I got pinged on reset, and I got, I hope so it can end finally. And I think, hopefully I'll get left alone by the mods on reset after that too.
You'll be called out for the fraud that you are if it doesn't show up, yeah? We'll have to change
you better get the
change
fraud.
the tag.
You better get the fraud roll in the Discord.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not worth it.
The last question or last official question from Volfan94. Do you think Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest could end up replacing E3? It's actually a pretty good question. I think it could.
Yeah,
because if you look at the Game Awards have grown arguably as big, if not bigger, than E3 in terms of, I guess, the eyes on, the attention that it gets. So I don't. The only reason I don't know if it would replace E3 is because it goes over 4 months. It's almost just like, hey, everyone, announce your stuff here. So I don't know. E3 is what it is because it's that concentrated week of just here's everything. When you're spread out over 4 months, I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't feel like it's a thing. It's like they've just branched a period of the year for everyone to put some stuff. I don't know.
I agree. I think what you might see is that a lot of these companies will go, well, this saves us millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we get the same reach or the same effect because all of the actual video game enthusiasts go out there and create YouTube videos and commentary on it anyway. So why don't we just save the light show, release it as a trailer, boom, it's there, it's online. We've saved ourselves loads. We might see more of that. We might see just generally E3 move into a consolidated thing and only really Microsoft putting on a big show because they love that big beat of the year. We might see that, but I don't know if stretching it out, like Nick says, over 4 months is going to be...
Yeah, I just think that 4 months... had Jeff Keighley's thing been a week or two, I would have said, yep, there's your E3 replacement. That's it. That is going to replace E3. But 4 months?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculously long.
That's a third of the year. That's a long time.
It's too long.
It just seems weird. I'm trying to think logistically how that's going to work. Do all the companies that... So what happens if you're a game developer that wants to announce a game within that 4 months? Are you part of that? Or do you have to brand your announcement as part of that? Like, it's just weird. Like, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but
yeah.
We'll see. Good question, though.
Yeah.
And there's one last reply to us. It's not even a question. It's a reply to the community question thing. And it's from some guy named Mr. Pony Switch. And he just says the Elden Ring. Ooh, Elden Ring.
God damn it. What is this thing?
I don't know what this is. It's in all our YouTube comments. It's here. I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
We're just going to have to rename you a special Elden Ring Ed.
Elden Ring.
You guys are just obsessed with this meme, aren't you?
Yeah, I want to know where it's
so
come from.
weird. I thought it was a thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's very odd. So now we'll dive into the XGSOT on Resetera. It's got some good questions from the folks over there. So first from Samurai Gosu. He's put a few in here. So how many events do we think Xbox will have? So 1, the May 7th Inside Xbox with their global partners. 2, summer plans to show off Xbox Game Studios have been working on. And 3, we have a lot, and he's quoting someone presumably here from Aaron Greenberg. We've got a lot to share this summer and heading into the holidays, so we'll give more details on that next week too. So, the general question is how many more shows? So we know of 2, right? We know the third-party one on the 7th, and then the big first-party one. Will we have... I imagine you'll have another Inside Xbox in the lead-up to launch, possibly. But beyond that, I don't think we'll have anything specific like...
The XO Inside Xbox.
Yeah, something like that. I do think, however, they've got this third-party event. The people have been asking, are we going to see anything? Are we going to see Halo Infinite? Are we going to see a tease? I do think we can look forward to, at the end, a little bit of, here's when we're going to be back, and they'll give a date and a time, and they might just end on a little tease for some first-party stuff, which I would love, and it would get the internet talking. So, yeah.
Probably Halo.
It'll
probably be Halo.
Proven is just sitting there like, what's that meme with the kid in class? Just like the vein
bursting.
That's Proven right now in our Discord. So yeah, so good question, but just like you, we'll have to wait and see on that front. From I don't know how to pronounce this. Tyothe. Whatever. Yothi? I don't know. Is there a time range that the team is trying to reach, like half hour, an hour plus? Now, I presume by team he means the Xbox Game Studios team, and he's referring to the May 7th show. I'm expecting around 40 minutes to an hour. I don't know about you guys.
Probably.
Probably about the same. Cairo, do you reckon?
I hope so, because it starts at 1 a.m. for me.
I mean, it's super early, but...
Now, you can let us know in the YouTube comments below. It starts at 1 a.m. for you, Ed. Now, I'm trying to persuade him to see if we can do like maybe a live recording of us watching it as a broadcast and have some conversation around some of the reveals. Can we persuade Nick's wife to not be cross at him for keeping the whole family up for an hour? Let's find out. You should be asleep, but also, video games.
It's more the fact that I'm working that morning.
Just roll out of bed 5 to 9.
Up till 2.
I believe in you. Have a think. But let us know in the comments below if you think we should do something like that and it's something you guys want to see. So thank you for that question. Next up, we have Jimmy, 1984. We think that we'll see more acquisitions such as Asobo and Techland? Not on this show. Yes, later on in the year, but not on May the 7th.
Yeah, probably not.
But do you think we'll see more acquisitions, guys? Do you think? Am I alone in this camp?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to acquire someone at some point, but at this point, they have so much content in the pipeline that I just want to see the stuff they're working on now come out first before I even talk about anything that might come from a potential new studio that they might acquire at some point in the future.
Yeah, I do think we'll see a Japanese studio somewhere soon, though.
Make it From Software.
Yeah, the meltdowns. So next question is from Ian Amberclad. Just wants to know what we think about the fact that they've actually split the events. So instead of doing one general show that has both your first and third party in.
Well, we talked about that.
Yeah, I think we've covered that pretty much. I think it's a good call because it allows them to really show the power now of their first party studios and all the things they're working on.
Well, it means they're confident that they've got enough to fill a show with just first party.
Which is awesome. I mean, can you imagine? We wouldn't have expected that in 2013 because things were bad. And we've covered quite extensively what we think we're going to see on Thursday anyway, so obviously check that out. Yeah. Next question was from Mentalist, who writes, with the recent State of Decay 2 Steam release and the upcoming Sea of Thieves Steam version, do you guys think Microsoft will bring the missing games in its key franchises to PC? Examples: Halo 5, Halo Wars 2. I thought Halo Wars 2 was on PC.
I thought Halo Wars 2 was on Steam.
missing the.
Or am I
missing
thinking
Gears
of
War
Definitive
games.
Edition? Halo
Maybe.
Wars Definitive Edition, maybe. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And what about things like Rare Replay to stoke the anticipation for a new Perfect Dark? I think at the moment with a console launch, their focus has to be on everything new. But I certainly think that at some point they will try and pick up those additional pieces. But I can't guarantee it, and I don't know is the honest answer. It would make sense to a degree, but you've also got to remember that they are releasing, and it's coming soon, the Xbox PC game streaming app, which will allow you to use your laptop or anything you want. To stream your
there were
Xbox
leaks that was starting to appear on the store.
Yeah, well,
so.
Jez, I think managed to get a copy, and he did it. I have tried but failed, and if I do succeed, I will put something together. But I think that's going to tick those boxes for those missing franchises and just allow people to play at least through it. And they might say that that's good enough. I disagree, but it's not my call. But yeah, Perfect Dark, that would be something, huh? Yeah. And then the last question from the community on Reset Era from Piano Black was Forza Horizon news when? So first question on that, maybe in a couple of weeks when that
maybe
first party team.
You're gonna hear about motorsport long before you hear about Horizon.
Yeah, I think so.
And at this point, I would imagine Playground is full steam ahead on their
Fable.
Their Fable game. We all know it's freaking Fable. That's the worst kept secret in the industry. Like,
yeah, but is it though?
But is it though?
It
has to be. At this point, we've got so much smoke. We have so much smoke around that it has to be Fable.
The great thing about the Forza leapfrogging being in the motorsports turn is that Horizon should be a Series X only game, like a next-gen game.
Yeah.
And when you look at how good Forza Horizon 3 and 4 look, and 4 even manages 1080-60 on One X, imagine how good Forza Horizon 5 is going to look.
Yeah.
That game is going to look redonkulous.
Yeah, it's going to be bonkers. At 60,
it's gonna
at
be
4K, at 120
it's just
FPS,
gonna,
at 1080, whatever.
It's just going to look real.
Yeah.
It's just going to look real.
I can't wait.
It's going to...
I can't wait.
Man,
if they can get it that good, I'm just so disappointed there's no VR support on Xbox Series X.
Well, it's interesting. So the other part of Piano Black's question here is what are our
kids? What are you saying, Nick? What are you saying?
I said, who cares?
Oh,
I care. I would love to have Forza Horizon VR.
Yeah, this anti-VR sentiment. Your brother
has to go.
As soon as this COVID thing's lifted, you're going to try it, and I guarantee you're going to eat some humble pie. And you might not even tell us. You'll probably be a secret, like it's a dirty perversion, like you've got your Quest hidden in a drawer somewhere. And when we're not streaming, you're cracking it out and playing games. But the other part of Piano Black's question here was, what are our predictions or hopes for big summer announcements that aren't new games, hardware, or studios? Things like console features or new services. At past E3, some of the biggest news has been backwards compatibility, all first-party games on Game Pass, console streaming, etc. I think we've covered ours. We think Gold is going away, like 100%.
Multiplayer will be free.
I'd love, and this is out of left field, but seeing as we were on the subject of VR, not necessarily Xbox VR, but for them to say, we're going to support Oculus Link with the Quest and allow VR games to be released on because they've got Windows Mixed Reality. I'd love something like that where they just support existing hardware, so there's nothing new that I have to buy. I can just plug in what I've got, because that seems to be more and more where Microsoft don't want to do it themselves. Rather than gatekeep or try, they'll just be like, here you go, we just activated this and let people do things. We'll see, but that would be cool. And that's it for the Resetter questions.
On to Discord.
Yeah, Discord.
There aren't a lot of
lots of silliness.
I'm trying to sift through the garbage for the real questions.
So you're skipping anything from Starleton, right?
Yep. So BC has asked, what are you guys hearing about the event for next week? Is Lockhart still coming? I mean, we've
covered that.
We've spoken about all that.
Lockhart's still coming, but not this week.
Well, I mean, we think it's coming. I still hope it's not.
It's coming.
Which leads to the next question from One Bad Mother. How did Lockhart hurt Special Ed? And how can we help him move on? The answer to that is, you won't help me move on, because I never will. I don't want Lockhart around.
Neither do I.
Starlatine.
Oh.
Why did Microsoft close the airports in New Zealand? So many people can't move there anymore. Was it a planned measure to spite Special Ed and all Australian folk? I don't know. I don't know what this guy's talking about. We tolerate him in the Discord. I don't know why he's still there. Cartoon Soldier 9. How many unannounced games will we see on May 7th? Are any of them Xbox exclusive? That's a good question. Unannounced games. Well, we're not sure. We talked about Platinum. We talked about Rocksteady. We talked about our predictions. So maybe.
Pick a number.
Xbox exclusive, though? Not sure. I mean, there's always a chance. Because all they said was third party. They didn't say anything about whether indies would be there. Is it going to be all the bigger publisher stuff? We don't know.
My thoughts are, if it's exclusive, it will be via Xbox Game Studio Publishing, because now the general rule, as far as I understand it within Microsoft, is they're going to publish a game, they want to own the IP now going forward. They're not going to do a Sunset Overdrive and lose an IP. And to that end, if that's the case, I would expect anything from a third-party partner that is exclusive, so being published via Xbox Game Studio Publishing, it will be on the first-party show. So
yeah.
So we'll have to wait.
So I don't think you'll be seeing any money hats per se. Let's have a look. Any other questions, man?
I don't think so.
Strike,
you covered them all.
Strike first. 117. Is this finally the day of reckoning for something Elden Ring?
Ooh, Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
That's the new. In fact, I'm calling it now. I'm going to call this episode "Ooh, Elden Ring."
Yeah, we should. Proven has 3 questions in one.
Oh, okay, go.
1. Are you disappointed and or concerned that Xbox isn't showing off any exclusives until July or later? Not really.
We don't know
it seems
July
like they've got
either.
Yeah. It seems like they've got a lot of them. So I doubt it. Don't think it's an issue.
Yeah.
Number 2, when will Lockhart be shown? Will it be before the July event or at the July event? Lockhart is supposed to be the number 1 box in terms of sales, and they haven't even announced it yet. Man, there's a lot of assumptions in that question.
Proven. It's okay. You'll see stuff. All right, let's cut to the chase here. Proven. Halo Infinite is coming, and it will be okay. Okay, don't worry. You'll see it soon, and you'll see gameplay, and you'll see campaign teases, and you'll see multiplayer. Yep. You'll probably even, hopefully, get some form of multiplayer beta at some point before launch on the actual Xbox. So it's okay. Just deep breaths. You'll get through this.
Third question. It's basically similar to the other one, to Cartoon Soldiers. Any big surprises you want or expect at the May event? Maybe a third-party exclusive at the event, a surprise partnership. I mean,
we've covered that. I think partnership, you might see marketing move back like FIFA and stuff like that. But I'd love to see
crossfire thing, and
I'd love to see. The one thing I have thought is are we going to see like a big publishing house like Ubisoft or EA go? You know what? EA Access, we don't release enough games. We don't release enough games for this to take off. We're never going to get a significant amount of money out of it. We've made a deal with Microsoft to release our games on Game Pass. That would be pretty industry breaking. Like, with the Xbox console, I'll just get FIFA day one on Game Pass. That would create a bit of a storm. So that would be a cool partnership to see, but I doubt it. There's too much money. People buy FIFA, right? And they buy it over and over and over again with minimal changes. Yeah. I just don't see something like that happening. But
I'm trying to think. I think that's everything. I think that's all the questions from the Discord. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that then draws us to a close for this episode. Nice and shorter than usual, he says. 2 hours. But it is genuinely shorter than usual. So, we'll see you soon. If we do end up doing the May 7th stream of some sort, we'll be there. And you can either watch afterwards or tune in with us. We'll see what we can wrangle.
Can I add one more thing?
Of course you can.
And it leads to the rumor stuff.
Uh-oh.
So a while back on one of our rumor mills, is something I just thought of, and again, I wish we had remembered while we were discussing all this stuff. One of our rumor mills, we had said that Everwild could potentially be a launch title, and again, this was well before all the COVID stuff and whatever. But I saw a recent tweet from Clobreal where he's discovered that Everwild has been in development longer than he thought. Possibly up to 3 years.
Correct.
I'd like to say that lends a little bit more credence to the idea that Everwild could be a launch game.
Yeah, because we suggested that it might be, and I think it will be. And when we say launch game, maybe not day one, but launch window, like within a month or so of the actual console.
I had been told that there is potential for it to be a day one launch game. Hearing that it's been in development for that long lends a little bit more weight to that, because by the time launch comes, that would suggest that Everwild has been in development for bare minimum 3.5 years,
which is pretty standard dev time, right?
Which is and I mean, we don't know exactly what kind of game it is, but it's not shared world, so that theoretically cuts. Am I mistaken? That would cut dev time. Like, I would have thought that a shared world game would take a little bit longer.
Yeah, in terms of the systems and the way the servers are going to have to work and all of that stuff.
So the fact that we're almost certain that it's a co-op game versus a shared world game would suggest that 3.5, 4 years is a long time to be working on it. So there's no reason it couldn't be a launch title. Just thought I'd throw that in from my friend Theory. Keeps pinging me.
I hope Everwild is going to be great.
Well,
it looks good.
So, that's a nice little extra bonus rumor there as we close out. So, enjoy the next week. May 7th should be fun. We get to see first proper next-gen gameplay from a number of titles. I'm excited. You should be excited. Thank you for watching us on YouTube or Spotify, listening to us there.
And remember to leave a comment down below if you guys want to see me run through Morrowind on the channel.
Or if you've got
more than happy to do so. Or if you got a suggestion, anything you want to tell us, anything you want us to improve, tell us what you think of the new intro and the new banners, the new cards,
everything. And
like and subscribe,
all of that stuff. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Yep.
Ciao for now.
See you guys later.